Hey folks, sorry for the long absence, longer than usual, not the most consistent. The end of school, right? I finished at the university is a really strange time, and everyone I've talked to has said that the sort of last quarter, last semester, and first half a year after school is just really tough for one reason or another. Change of routine or rhythm, who knows? If any of you are currently going through that right now, you're not alone. So I want to dive right into what I was going to, make a video about had I not stopped for so long. So I want to look at frameworks that we view the world. In particular, the structural versus the existential. And by that I simply mean the existential is the self. So existential argument, philosophy, thought is what one ought to do to be a good person, rise over challenges, move above the nature, stuff that's holding them back, environment, so on and so forth. And the systemic is essentially the structural, right? What we're born into, right? What we inherit, the way that society is built, in which you can't escape it. And these two seem to butt heads, and that you say, well, on the one hand, let's look at poverty, right? Poor people are poor because they don't work hard enough, or they don't know. Poor people are poor because they don't know how to use money, right? They don't know what money is, they don't know how to invest, etc., etc. You have examples, right, of people who go in massive credit card debt to afford TVs and fancy TVs and nice cars and all that, even though they don't have a dime to their name. You have people who win the lottery, right, and go into debt because they have no clue what that money means, how much it actually is, and what to do with it. But then you have people that say, well, look at these people. These people are working really hard. They're smart. They're really intelligent. And they're working 3 part-time jobs because that's all they can get. No one's hiring full-time anymore. And, they're trying to support their families. And is it their fault, right? No, it's not their fault that they're poor. In fact, if they had the opportunities, they wouldn't be. And then you have these examples of, well, look at this person. They had all the odds stacked against them and they rose above them, right? No excuses. And they got here is because they didn't make excuses. That's why. And they, challenged themselves and so on and so forth. And it goes back and forth. So, they're both true, right? You can't say that one's not true or the other's not true. It's just a matter of how do we use them, right? I really like existential beliefs because it motivates me. It feels really intense, and you can find them, religion is existential, a lot of philosophy, right? I think I've talked about Sartre's existentialism a lot. There's all sorts of people making videos, those like health and fitness vlogs that are really just like intense. And I love that stuff. It's great. The more intense, the more it pushes you, the better. But you can't push that on everybody, right? Certainly if somebody was having some problem, you wouldn't look at them and be like, oh, well, it's your fault because you're not pushing yourself hard enough. There's only so much you can say about that. To talk about the place that these have, there's things that I believe, and I don't know if I've made a video about belief yet. If I haven't, I should. Things that I believe that I know aren't true, things that I believe that I know other people wouldn't hold to, but I believe them because it gets me through the day. It gets me where I want to go. And so I sort of keep those to myself. And then the structural is compassion. You have compassion for people because you can't deny that, well, racism, sexism, prejudice, all these things, they're part of people's lives and they hold people's back. And there's these things that are built into the structure of our society that quite frankly keep people down. The goal here, what I really want to get across today, is that these need to be held, one in each hand, and they need to be reconciled with. Recognize when you hear them, when you think them, when you say them, what you're saying and the places that those have, because one doesn't happen at the exclusion of the other. If somebody around you is pushing themselves, or they want to be pushed, that doesn't happen at the exclusion of the fact that people are held down and don't, right? Whether they can or can't, they simply have all this stuff that's in their way. And vice versa. All the structural stuff is there, and we need to have compassion. But, quite frankly, if you want to accomplish anything in your life, in some level, you're going to have to not make excuses. You're going to have to push yourself. You're going to have to see things beyond your circumstances. I think a lot of arguments that I see, a lot of people that get heated on these things are getting heated because they see the truth of one side without seeing the truth of the other side. So then you have these two things that are just butting heads, and there's not going to be any solution to that because there is none, right? One side can't give to the other because they're both pretty right, both pretty true. Push yourself, keep it real, but have compassion for each other. This sounds like kind of a feel-good, everyone be nice to each other, but really it's just, look at the arguments that are being put forth and the emotion behind it, because either one can get too out of hand. I can't say what exactly the solution to this is, because that would be, I think putting forth either an existential or a structural argument. Just start to see it that way, and try not to see them as contradicting each other. That might be the key right there. See if where they meet and where their uses are. That'll be it. Have a good day.